Watch this.
It took years of waiting, nudging, and a pretty loud push from Idaho's congressional delegation, but finally, federal dollars for rural schools are on the way. An Idaho guy turns a simple idea and a whole lot of love for his great-grandma into something he hopes unites the entire state, and it involves a word search. Idaho State Treasurer gave back a record amount of unclaimed money to Idahoans last month. Now, with the holiday season in full swing, the office wants people to claim their cash. Well, a major win for rural schools across the country and here in the Idaho at our nation's capital. Congress has just passed legislation that reauthorizes the Secure Rural Schools program, which expired at the end of the fiscal year 2023. The program compensates county governments that can't collect property taxes on federally owned forest land within their boundaries. The issue dates back more than 100 years, and since 1908, federal law has required the U.S. Forest Service to share 25% of revenue generated on federal lands with local governments for public schools and public roads, and the county has all kinds of things that they work through with their partners at the federal government. And for decades, timber sales provided substantial revenue for these jurisdictions. However, as those revenues have declined in more recent years, rural counties have faced unexpected fiscal challenges. Idaho was among the hardest hit states. So, Idaho Senator Mike Crapo, he led the charge on the change, a major bipartisan push. A major win for rural Idahoans. The Secure Rural Schools Authorization Act is headed to the president's desk for his signature.
What it does is require the federal government to pay a fee to counties because the counties that have very significant federal property in them, like forests or grasslands, the federal government does not allow property taxes to be assessed on it.
Idaho Senator Mike Crapo is a lead voice on the act. Following the program's expiration in 2023, rural communities experienced school closures, delayed road and bridge maintenance, and reduced public safety services. In fiscal year 2023, the SRS program provided $281 million to more than 700 counties across the country. Those counties faced a 63% cut, a $177 million loss nationwide.
I think about 28 or 30 counties in Idaho or more receive this support, and they badly need it.
Idaho was amongst the hardest hit states. In fiscal year 2023, $22.8 million was distributed across rural Idaho counties to pay for educational programs, emergency response systems, and other services. When the program lapsed, county payments reverted to the 1908 timber sharing law, representing approximately an 80% cut for some counties.
In most of Idaho's counties have fallen far behind on a lot of their upkeep, the salaries they can pay their teachers, and all of the other kinds of operations that need to be undertaken by the county to provide education to its children. And I can't tell you how many people from rural Idaho have been begging us to get this program reauthorized. And I should have indicated that not only did we reauthorize it, but we made the back payments. So the payments that they did not get in 2024, the payments they did not get in 2025 are going to be made. These counties are going to be able to catch up now on a lot of the critical functions that they need to provide to their citizens.
For decades, timber sales provided substantial revenue for rural jurisdictions. However, as those revenues declined, rural counties faced unexpected fiscal challenges. Congress responded in the year 2000 by enacting the Secure Rural Schools and Community Self-Determination Act, giving counties the option to receive SRS payments to support road maintenance, infrastructure, education, wildfire mitigation, and public safety. The program has been consistently reauthorized with bipartisan support, although under technically different names, until it did expire in 2023. Now the work continues. And how long is this reauthorization for?
Well, that's a good point. I'm glad you asked. Unfortunately, we were only able to get the reauthorization through 2026. So I am already engaged in another piece of legislation to get the program reauthorized on a permanent basis. Because what's happened is because we have to offset it, we have to find revenue in the Treasury to pay for this. It's only been extended for a year or two at a time as Congress fights over the spending side of it. And we need to address that spending side, yes, but we need to do it on a permanent basis, so we make some permanent fixes in our codes that allow us to generate the revenue to pay our bills to these local counties.
And as you heard the senator allude to, the legislation provides retroactive payments for fiscal years 24 and 25. And Senator Crapehill tells me the belief is that after the president signs this in the next few days, those funds should be pretty quickly available to Idaho schools in need. Big changes are on the way for students attending or planning to attend the College of Idaho. Meanwhile, an Idaho nonprofit serving people who experience domestic violence is asking for major help. Our Derek Kay has the 411.
Starting in 2026 for all new students, the College of Idaho will not have theater and communication arts as majors and only offer philosophy as a minor. The school says it's cutting those programs to shift resources to programs with higher enrollment. The CEO for C of I says the college will start offering biochemistry, finance, and criminology majors. All current theater, communication arts, and philosophy students will be allowed to finish out their major. Faces of Hope is issuing an urgent call for help as the organization faces a major financial crisis that could force one of its 2 Treasure Valley locations to close. The nonprofit, which serves people experiencing domestic violence, says it needs to raise $450,000 in emergency funding to keep services running as demand doubles compared to last year and donations drop to historic lows. We have more information and how to support Faces of Hope on our website at ktvb.com. Drivers will see changes on a major highway starting tonight. The intersection of Highway 16 and Highway 44 will shift to a new traffic pattern. Speeds will be reduced from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. Flaggers will be on site to help move 2 lanes of traffic in each direction on Highway 44 as crews continue building the north side interchange ramps. The goal is to decrease congestion in that area. That's the 411 on the 208. I'm Derek Kay.
Viewer question time, and we got one last week that we wanted to answer from Michael in Star about some new signage on one of Idaho's busiest roads. He asks, what are the new electronic road signs up and down Eagle Road? Great question. Many people are wondering this, and it is something that we touched on since the project was announced last year. So you may have seen these signs up on Eagle between Franklin Road and Chinden Boulevard. These are now called variable speed limit signs, and they allow the Idaho Transportation Department to adjust the speed limit in almost real time. So here's a picture of what they look like so we can all catch up together. They will display adjusted speed limits from 55 to 45 miles per hour during peak commute time. So it'll depend on the conditions there. And the purpose of these new digital signs is to improve traffic flows. They're expected to take effect early next year, so keep your eyes open and aware on Eagle Road. One man from Canada has crossed the 49th parallel on a mission to put every state, including ours, inside a word search. Town names, landmarks, Idaho icons, you name it. The reason behind it, to remember his great Nan and her stack of puzzle books. Our Hunter Funk sat down with the guy who just finished up the word search for Idaho.
I'm Nick Cranford. I created this neat little word search book celebrating your great state of Idaho. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm actually a Canadian, believe it or not. Actually, from a small island called Newfoundland. So I started doing word searches like across the country, like all 10 provinces. Word Search of Canada, they've done really well, big way. So I decided to expand into the U.S. I've got 15 states done so far, and including you fine folks.
This idea didn't just spark overnight. It sounds like your grandmother might have had an influence on you a little bit.
One thing I've always noticed was she was doing word searches all the time. Like, she would have stacks of them every single day. Like when I did my first word search, I dedicated it to her, you know, and it's like this wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for her. And I knew, like, they've always been around for years. So I decided to make one for my home place of Newfoundland, and that just took off, like went bonkers, everything. Like people were like at Costco here, people were just buying them by the armloads. And so I expanded to the other provinces and Canada and now the US, and here I am.
What are some of those big pointers that people get to learn about Idaho?
Well, of course, if there's one thing Idaho's known for, hence the cover, is potatoes. I mean, that's like, you can't avoid that. So I've got a whole puzzle dedicated to like potato recipes and everything. And of course, you got your famous landmarks. You got your like Sun Valley. You got the Shoshone, Twin Falls there. You got the City of Rocks, Hills Canyon. There's just so much to think of. So much. Like it's like the whole state in word search form.
If your grandma was looking at these now, I don't know, what do you think she would be saying?
She'd be, she'd be proud. So it really, I think with every single one that goes into people's stockings, Christmas trees, or whether they're bringing it with you on a plane or in your living room or you're on the beach or wherever you are, to have that little piece of home with you. That's what this book represents. It's a fun way to learn home. You get to bring it with you wherever you go, and I think that's just why so many people connect with it.
Okay, right now it is not in our Costco's, but it is on Amazon. And since he already mentioned, he's made about 15 of these books in the United States and plans to get all 50 of them done.
I'm sure he knows lots of fun facts about all the Canadian territories and now some of the states.
Right. I know that was my biggest question for him. I said, okay, what did you learn about Idaho? You're from Canada. What was your favorite factoid? And he said, I just really liked the North. That's fitting, given the fact that he's Canadian.
They're neighbors.
Yeah. But also, he's like, I just love the rural communities. Oh. Everybody's so close and tight-knit.
I love it. Okay, a great feature. We're on the map again. The potatoes on the cover and the Appaloosa horse.
Which we're known for.
We are the state horse. There we are. All right. Thank you so much, Hunter.
Thanks, Joe.
Turns out the state of Idaho has possession of a lot of unclaimed property, which is a fancy way to say some company or agency probably is owed money. Last month, the Idaho State Treasurer's Office returned more than $2 million back to the people of Idaho. It's the highest amount ever returned in a one-month period. In total, the state treasury says that they have $291 million unclaimed dollars. But how does this even happen? What are we talking about? How are we owed money that we don't even know exists? Well, Andrew Bartline tells us in today's 208 Redial.
What's lost has to be found, right?
Does losing my mind count?
Jody Maltaire's been there before.
Yeah, I guess I've lost things. I lost a pair of AirPods one time on an airplane, and I'll just misplace things here and there.
But in the great state of Idaho,
I feel comfortable here. I feel at home.
Lost property would be returned to its rightful owner, right?
No idea.
Turns out,
So those things are common.
Idaho
As a
State
matter of
Treasurer
fact,
Julie Ellsworth says the state holds on to a lot of money that's not theirs.
As a matter of fact, we have $228 million that needs to be claimed in the state of Idaho. State treasurers are heightening the need for people to come and claim their lost money.
The message extends to businesses too. A quick trip around the block shows the Matador on 8th Street can claim up to $50 from an internet provider. And just up the road, St. Michael's Parish is due a whopping $7 in total, owed from a bank and a power provider.
It's happening all over the United States, so we have a network with everybody in the United States. If you've forgotten things in New York City, there's a way for you to claim that. But by law, companies and businesses want to clear their books, and by law they can sweep those lost items that people have not claimed for over a year. They can take them off their books and remit them to us to hang on to. We hold on to them until they're claimed, and in the meantime we work to find the owners.
Owners.
Well, that's definitely me. There's not too many Malters in the valley.
That includes Jody.
So it looks like I've got some money owed by Delta Dental, JP Morgan, 5 cents. That's a good one. Delta's looks pretty substantial.
Like $100.
Interesting.
And completely unexpected.
No idea. I haven't been a Delta dental user in probably 8 or 9 years.
Meaning the Treasury has held it for the same amount of time.
There's some people that find $30,000. I think 2 months ago, I think that was the highest one that was returned. Last year we returned $16 million back to the rightful owners. Wow. Kind of feel like Santa Claus.
And the gifts can go a long ways, even if the return is a comparably small sum.
And hopefully it'll be enough money to claim it'll pay for my lunch.
To foot the next bill.
Absolutely. I hope anybody watching probably ought to go check it out and find out if they're owed something.
I just looked, by the way, and I am owed $1.54, so I'm going to go pick that up. The state treasury, by the way, says that they also get safe deposit boxes from banks that have been abandoned, and the items are auctioned off, but the liquid dollars are still owed to the family of the original deposit box. So typically, this is how someone might come across high-valued unclaimed property from the state. So this holiday season, the state treasurer's office is encouraging people to check to see if the state is holding any of their lost or forgotten dollars. We spoke with him today.
The hardest thing for us to do is to get people to come and claim their money that is rightfully theirs. Obviously, with a lot of scams out there, this sounds too good to be true. But it's state law. It's every state has it. So people all over the U.S. have this money out there that either they forgot about or maybe even never knew about.
So now you can't say you don't know about it, and to see if Idaho is sitting on any of your money, just head over to yourmoney.idaho.gov. You can do what I just did. You put in your last name or your first and last name if you choose, and it'll show if they owe you any money. Just hit search. All right, folks, we're going to try something new here on the 208. Every day, our great journalists and photographers get out in the communities to learn from leaders and the people impacted by decisions for the stories they tell. Things like phone calls, knocking on doors, listening to hours of meetings. But a lot of what they learn and what we hear doesn't always make the final story for everyone at home to see. So we're putting together a new segment. We're calling it the Reporter's Notebook, where we can do, well, the things we don't get into in normal time, diving into some of the context and subtleties of things happening in our cities and neighborhoods. And our first attempt is Aspen Shumpert. Aspen, welcome back to the 208.
Thank you.
It's great to have Aspen here. A story that you have been following throughout the KTVB, I guess, last few weeks story count is the proposed Costco in Eagle.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of comments on this on our text message line. Tell me about this.
Well, it's very controversial. There's opinions on both sides of it, some who are for it, some that are against it. And like Joe said, this is very initial phases. This is just proposed as of right now. Costco is looking at a location at the intersection of Highway 55 and Hill Road in Eagle. Again, nothing has been approved. No formal applications have been submitted with the city of Eagle, but they've sought out this property, which is 27 acres. It's been highly sought out before. It once housed the Masterpiece Quarry, which closed in 2003. But that site has really sat vacant since then. There were previous plans to build a village-like concept, but those never really materialized. So now Costco has its eyes on it for a 160,000 square foot warehouse and fuel facility. So part of the pre-steps for an application is a neighborhood meeting, which Costco just did last week with Eagle neighbors that live nearby the proposed location. They got a flyer on their doors letting them know that meeting was going to be happening, and it said attendees could come and ask questions. So I showed up there to kind of hear what this would be. They put out about 55 chairs, but there was way more people than that showed up. There was about 200 people that really wanted to hear what these plans were all about. And they really wanted a question and answer in a group format. But when they got there, they learned it was going to be more of an open house style. Things got a little heated, tensions flared, and people were essentially asking for Costco to take their questions. We have some footage of that. Take a listen. So what you're hearing is people in the audience upset. They were hoping to have a conversation with Costco, walk out of there feeling a little more secure in some of the questions they had. They were wanting to do that in a group format, not the open house style, but instead Costco wanted them to go up one by one instead of everyone getting to hear the questions and the answers together. So residents felt like it was a little bit of a waste of time because they didn't get that format. A lot of the questions were around traffic and how this would be affecting the area that already gets congested, really. Yeah. There were some concerns mostly about what that would look like, as well as 900 parking stalls could really intensify the traffic, pushing it out into the neighborhoods around this. So there's also a youth complex nearby that one parent really sparked concerns about, just wanting to make sure the kids that are walking and riding their bikes in the area would be safe.
There are so many children crossing those streets. The amount of cars going through, it's astronomical, and it's only a matter of time before something seriously tragic will happen.
Okay, so the wild thing for us is you were physically there and you heard one story, people super against this. Yeah. Almost all the text messages we got into the KTVB text line were in support of it.
Yeah, there's some people who see economic opportunity there, local businesses that want to welcome this, some people that highly travel Highway 55, love that it's right off the highway, easy convenience for them to go in. So definitely mixed emotions, no formal applications. They'll need to do that with the city, and then there would be an official public hearing where all these neighbors can voice their opinions.
All right, thanks, Aspen. That's the Reporter's Notebook. We'll be right back. All right, comments to end the half hour. We'll start with Tony. Kudos to Crapo for the Secure Rural Schools bill, which restores $28 million per year to rural Idaho. He says bad on him for voting to take $280 million per year from all of Idaho with the One Big Beautiful Bill. Tony, thanks for your perspective on that one. Ken writes, I was part of that last month, $2 million returned. I got $1.43. Nice. And then people want to know where Brian is. He'll be back tomorrow. Just enjoying vacation. Joe at Mountain Home, thank you. It is a good hair day.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.